Yeah, your announcement for Athlete of the Year, like tremendous, incredible positive feedback. That's what we've seen across the board. There's always going to be some negativity. And I feel like you have had to answer more questions than anybody about the intersectionality of race and gender and sexuality in sport because of just who you are and you represent the growth of this thing. And even today, earlier today, Megyn Kelly, she was saying that you were apologizing for your white privilege and the fact that you wanted to uplift Black female athletes and make sure that they were getting the shine, kind of like your pioneers were getting the shine that they deserved. And I just want to know how you feel or how you respond to some of those criticisms when you have to deal with something that it's really not your problem. Like, I feel like it's them looking in a mirror a little bit, but it still comes down on your shoulders.
I feel like I always have had really good perspective on everything that's kind of happened in my life, whether that's been good, whether that's been bad. And then obviously coming to the WNBA, like I've said, I feel like I've earned every single thing that's happened to me over the course of my career. But also, I grew up a fan of this league from a very young age. Like, my favorite player was Maya Moore. Like, I know what this league was about. And like I said, like, it's only been around 25 plus years. So I know there's been so many amazing Black women that have been in this league, and continuing to uplift them, I think, is very important. And that's something I'm very aware of. And like I said, like, I try to just be real and authentic and, share my truth. And I think that's very easy for me. Like, I'm very comfortable in my own skin. And that's kind of been how it is my entire life.
Yes.
Share her truth. Okay, I'm just gonna get the elephant out the room. Caitlin Clark actually looks pretty good in this interview, this sit-down interview. Like, the best she's ever looked. I mean, when people say she has pretty privilege, I'm like, ugh. And then, the funny thing is when people compare her to, Jim Carrey on Living Color. I forget the character he's playing, but I can't get that out of my head sometimes. But in this one, she definitely stepped out of her comfort zone. I mean, you can see she's trying to keep the girls in and everything, and which I didn't think she even had any, honestly, though, because from when you see her on the court, I guess for most of the WNBA players, they're not really chest heavy. But she's definitely making it work in that dress, though. So kudos to that. And that's probably the nicest thing I'm going to say about her after this. But go ahead.
She's an ambassador. And as an ambassador, you have to kind of be neutral about stuff like this. There's two ways you can look at this. She's paying homage to the people that built the league before her. Now, we could go back and forth on if the league has actually been built or not. But what we can't go back and forth about is there were people, your Lisa Leslie's, your Cheryl Swoops's, Don Staley's, they kind of set the foundation for that league. They passed the baton on to people like Caitlin Clark, and she ran with it. That's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is, why did you have to say this? Did somebody tell you to say this? Were you coached to say this? Yeah. Because one thing I noticed about her is she never played into the race stuff. When white people tried to call her America's princess, she never did on that. When people were trying to get her and Angel Reese to bump heads and go at it and hate each other, she didn't buy into that. I don't know where this came from. Like, why the change of heart? I think there's still probably a lot of jealousy from the rest of the league for her, because she brought in new fans. A lot of people are watching the WNBA because of her. You have to admit that, and you have to deal with it. Take advantage of it. Okay, Caitlin Clark brought in some new fans. How are we going to get them interested in other stuff besides her? That should be the conversation. Sure. But they want to just keep focusing on this. We're going to lean all the way into these women and eventually the alphabet community. But they're failing to realize that they're alienating their own fans. The WNBA continuously shoots themselves in the foot, and it drives me crazy.
That's all they know how to do.
Yeah.
Did you know Caitlin Clark has a Nike shoe deal?
She does. Yeah, I knew that.
Yep. Did you do you know what that shoe looks like?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay. When do you think that she just got into the NBA? So when do you think that shoe's coming out, or has it came out?
I'm not a sneakerhead like that, so I really couldn't answer that question.
I mean, you think it would be out by now, right?
That's a safe assumption. It should be out by now. It should be selling quite well.
Yeah, you would think it would be. Her shoe deal has she's already inked it and everything, but that shoe has yet to come out. And maybe they're working on trying to design it or whatever. I don't know what they're waiting on though, because they should have had something ready to go by now. She's already completed the first season, and so they had plenty of time to get that shoe deal taken care of before or middle of the season. And so I think this is definitely one of those things where her handlers are telling her to bend the knee, and for her to want to, like, I get you want to play homage, blah blah blah. They would never ask Serena Williams to do anything like this, or the Williams sisters in general. They would never ask Simone Biles to do anything like this. They would never ask anybody, any sport where a Black woman is dominating a sport where, well, Black people in general, where they're dominating a sport that was pioneer, or at least, the foundation was built by white men or white women, really, in this example. And so I think it was a grave misstep though, because she's going to lose fans over this stuff. Like, I still didn't watch the WNBA games like that, but I only saw like stuff that was trending, and every now and then I would see the highlights and everything. And she gave and this is the thing about the woke mob. As soon as you give them what they want, they keep taking. So this is like the first step. And who knows what Caitlin Clark is going to do. I mean, right now she's straight, but that might change down the road, because apparently that happens a lot in the WNBA, where players get in there and they either convert or they get pushed out of the league. And then
Hey, we remember what Candace Wiggins said.
Yeah. Or even, not just Candace Wiggins, but Candace Parker as well too, where she went into the league with a husband and left the league with a woman, a Russian woman. So,
man, he outkicked his coverage. Yeah, I ain't usually the one to comment on stuff like that, but look, if Nike hasn't dropped her shoe, that's a big fumble, because in my opinion, Caitlin Clark will never have the type of hype that she had in her first season. Yeah. She'll still have hype, but it will not compare to this season that just ended.
And part of the reason, my whole point of bringing that all up, I don't think I even decided why. The whole reason why I brought that up, because people lost their mind when she inked that shoe deal. People were like, how come these other players ain't got no shoe deals? Because nobody cares about those players. The big draw is Caitlin Clark. And they did everything in their power to make sure Caitlin Clark knew her place, and they did everything with like roughing her up. And I get it, sometimes things are going to be rough, but I think they went a whole nother level. But the people that were backing Caitlin Clark up was her fans. I'm not even saying I'm a fan of the WNBA or anybody in particular. Like I said, I'll just watch the highlights. But the people that were defending her, she just spat on their faces. She just pretty much said like, hey, I know you guys have been defending me against the crazy lunatics, like especially when Angel Reese fans come into the conversation, because everybody thinks Caitlin Clark fans are a bunch of right-wing extremists, blah blah blah. No, these people that adore Caitlin Clark, because I see their comments and everything, these are people that generally like Caitlin Clark and they support her, and they're fans of the sport. They say they watch the sport, or where they watch Caitlin Clark. But for a lot of these not players, but not just players, but also owners, they really have fumbled this whole situation. Adam Silver, he should have stepped in. He should have gave Caitlin Clark some. I mean, for the most part, you're right. Earlier, when you said she had some media training, or not media training, but she kind of like stayed away. She was just neutral in this situation, and that's what we need to get back to with a lot of these athletes, because a lot of these athletes are just idiots. They just like to be divisive with whatever rhetoric is trending at the moment, and they really do not. They really don't have to deal with a lot of these situations, though, because they're millionaires in most cases. And so for them to think that they can come down to our level and talk, no, just show up and dribble. And I'm including the people out there that supported Trump too. There was that football player, I forget his name, and it created like a debacle. But at this point, like, as much as I laughed at when he wore that hat and support Trump and everything, you can't have it anymore, because his was pretty tame. The rest of these people, they go extreme. They go a whole nother level, where they got Caitlin Clark denouncing her whiteness, and she has to bend the knee to. And everybody keeps saying Black women. It's really the Black lesbians in that. Well, it's really lesbians in that league, honestly, for the most part. Angela Reese, she's only getting the pass just because she is Black, though. But again, not Candace Parker, but who was it? Candace Wiggins, you said?
Yeah, Candace Wiggins was the one that they
she got forced out of the league. It is documented that she said there were problems with women in that league, had problems with her because she was straight. And so nobody wants to have that conversation. I ain't seen ESPN bring that up, or actually I think maybe they did bring it one time, but or why she left. But I honestly, for the most part, they really haven't brought it up, and no one ever talks about it.
Hey, let me present something real quick. It's going to relate to what we're talking about right now. Let's see. All right, here we go. You see this?
Oh, I've seen that. Yep.
So this photo right here ties in, and this will be one of the very few times you'll see me go on the Roots website because they hate black men.
Mm-hmm.
But this photo is symbolic of the WNBA to a degree, and I'm gonna tell you why. You have a group of women who are sitting and saying, "We're gonna let this mofo burn down just so we can be right."
Yep.
Instead of acknowledging that this lady is bringing you money and attention and these private jets that you wanted and these nicer hotels, you would rather just see the league crash and burn just to prove that you were right, and you're not even right.
Yeah.
Logically speaking, you need to get behind her and take advantage of her bringing all this new views and money to the league and build off of that. But no, you'd rather just squash her down and take away everything that she's bringing just so you can be superior over her instead of looking at the greater good of what y'all truly trying to accomplish.
Yep.
That's how I look at this. That's number one. Number two, this is already kind of low key triggered a mini civil war in women's basketball. If you see what the Washington Mystics, okay, you just pulled her up. Yeah, the Washington Mystics owner and Caitlin Clark's college coach, they've been kind of going back and forth, taking jabs at each other about this. So it's creating another rift. And again, WNBA, why do y'all keep doing this to yourselves? Y'all just keep hurting yourselves.
Mm-hmm. Let's hear some how she feels.
Those 28 years to get to the point where we are now. And this year, something clicked with the WNBA. And it's because of the draft of the players that came in. Right. It's just not Caitlin Clark. It's Reese. We have so much talent out there that has been unrecognized. And I don't think we can just pin it on one player.
There has been, this phrase has been couched, hasn't it? The Caitlin Clark effect. Why do you think that has been the case?
Well, I want to be very diplomatic about this. It's just the structure of the way media plays out race. I'm going to be very honest. I feel really bad because I've seen so many players of color that are equally as talented, and they never got the recognition that they should have. And I think right now, it is time for that to happen. So last night, we read Time magazine where Caitlin Clark was named Athlete of the Year. Why couldn't they have put the whole WNBA on that cover and said, the WNBA
Did she really just
is
say
the
that?
League of the Year?
Oh my God. Real quick. All right. We're gonna
I'm sorry, that's laughable.
I have never seen this type of, I can't remember, can you remember any coach or an owner, well, really owners in this situation, because she's a Mystics owner, any owner that has went after a top tier athlete in their league, like especially at Golden Goose, like other than, Dan Gilbert went after LeBron James, but that was for something different. Because he was just butthurt about, LeBron leaving. I'm gonna throw that one out. Outside of that, I ain't never seen anyone go after like one of the best athletes, and not to mention her team greatly benefited. When Caitlin Clark played the Mystics, the Fever played the Mystics, her team had some of the highest viewership and attendance when Caitlin Clark came to town. Like, she wants to say, no one person. Look, in this case, it's just one person. It ain't Angel Reese. Angel Reese helps a little bit, but Angel Reese jerseys ain't selling out like Caitlin Clark's jerseys are.
See, I think the move would have been to put both her and Angel. Look, I've said this before. They need to do what the NBA did with Bird and Magic when they were going bankrupt and they started pushing that competition between those two. Mm-hmm. That single-handedly pulled the NBA out of bankruptcy. The WNBA, look, we're not trying to hear this. And I tell women this all the time. Nobody wants to hear this victim stuff all the time, man. Like you're getting paid to play basketball, seasonal. You make a decent salary, more than the average person does.
Very short season.
And you have the rest of the year to kind of hustle and do other things. Like, what are we complaining about here?
Yeah.
So in the Black community, there's a concept. It's called the spook who sat by the door. Essentially, that means we get one in, they look out for everybody else, and they leave the door cracked open and let everybody else get in and get what needs to be done. I don't know why they're not applying this concept to Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
Go ahead and bring in all those fans. They could be, even if they are racist theoretically, they're still putting money in your pocket.
Yeah.
They're still watching the games. Are we playing checkers or chess? You got to get out your feelings and get to the bag and do things to sustain your league. Because people are noticing that y'all losing money year after year, and y'all complaining about men after men are your biggest viewing audience and the ones who subsidize your league in the first place.
Yeah.
Just keep shooting yourself in the foot, though.
Yeah, I had a crazy stat where they're always in 50 million in the hole, and because of Caitlin Clark effect this season, they're only at 40 million in the hole. Like they're still losing money. I bet some of those owners are like, no, we're expecting to lose 50 million so we can get that off on the taxes. Y'all gotta we ain't trying to make money. We are trying to lose money so we can, offset it and claim it. But you know what? This is Caitlin Clark's fault. And whoever her handler, hopefully she fires them and she turns things around. But I still see some people still supporting her. This really hasn't hit mainstream yet, though, but it's going to, because this is just step one. The next step is for Caitlin Clark to start renouncing. I mean, she's already denounced her whiteness, but she's going to have to go on some media tour telling everybody, like, you got to make sure that you represent Black women, or you make sure you love the Black women in the league. The Black women in the league aren't even in the league now. So who is she talking about? Like, who do they need to start praising? Because they're all gone for the most part. I know they ain't about to say Brittany, was it Griner? Like, I know they ain't about to talk about her. Like, there's so many women in the league and so many players going into the league, and you never hear about them ever again. I mean, because of Caitlin Clark, I found about Asia Wilson. And Asia Wilson, I think she just signed a massive contract or extension with her shoe deal.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, maybe, yeah, like Asia Wilson she's a good ball player and she's straight. Like, like you would think they would be uplifting her, but they're not uplifting Asia Wilson, and she's Black. The only reason they're not uplifting Asia Wilson is because she's straight. That's what it is. This isn't even about race. People want to make it about race. It's not even about race. This is about the WNBA and their rainbow community or rainbow mafia trying to like make sure they have they made Caitlin Clark know her place. And so for people thinking, or for Caitlin Clark, if she thinks this is over, it's only getting started. She might as well dye her hair pink right now.
Yeah. So do you know who the WNBA's all-time leading scorer is?
Yes, it has to. Okay, I don't.
It's not even close. It's Diana Taurasi.
I was actually thinking Diana Taurasi, but yeah.
Now let me ask you a question. Let's be men for a minute. Well, we men all the time.
Real quick, just put this out there. I only know two. Well, there's three. There's Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, Sabrina Ibascani or whatever. But the only reason I know about her because of the whole Kobe relationship. That's really it. And then I know that tall white chick and for the Sparks who busted out her ACL. I forget her name though, but I mean she's gorgeous. So yeah.
So there's two ways why do you think, let me ask you this question first. Why do you think a Caitlin Clark has already exceeded Diana Taurasi's marketability, and people like Angel Reese have already exceeded Diana Taurasi's marketability? Because if we're talking about the grades, she only mentioned Black women. She didn't even mention Diana Taurasi.
Yeah, I was about to say that too, because they gave Sue Bird Caitlin Clark's Olympic position. Even though, I mean, Caitlin Clark probably wouldn't have to contribute much. I mean, I know it's a lot of basketball, but I mean, it would have been great for her to go to Olympics. But they wanted to give Dinosaur Sue Bird. Oh, no, was it Sue Bird? Am I wrong on that?
I think you're right.
Okay, if I'm wrong, chat, correct me, whatever. The point is, they gave her that spot when they should have gave the Caitlin Clark. It should have been a marketing move. But you would think they would be uplifting, some of their white players. But as the Sheila Johnson said, she's only focusing on the black man. Which do you know how Sheila Johnson got her money?
Bob Johnson.
Okay, you're good there. So some people don't even know, but Bob Johnson was a big time broadcasting media mogul, and she got her money through divorce, and she brought the Mystics team probably for like $100,000. I bet. Like this is crazy.
Most of the richest women in the world got their money because they divorced. So Patty, that's how they got their wealth.
Yep. Yep.
Exactly. This is crazy. Look, WNBA and anybody who's listening to me, let me tell you something. You cannot force people to like you, to watch you, to integrate with you.
Yep.
It has to happen organically and naturally. If you force it, you're just going to create resentment, and people will get onto it and turn away. The conversation should be, let's improve our game of basketball, and let's focus on the big picture, not jealousy of a rookie that came in and outshined everyone off the rip.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, this is just women being petty with each other again. That ain't nothing new under the sun.
And you know what's funny also? So even though Caitlin Clark has bent the knee, there are so many people thinking they get to have a conversation about this. What's that chick's name? Jamel Hill? Is it J-E? How do you spell her name?
Yeah, I used to rock with her back in the day, but I had to distance myself. She's dangerous for black men.
She says something that was just so out of pocket. And it's like you don't get a chance, you don't get to talk about Caitlin Clark. Not one bit at all. Anyways, the whole point is Jamel Hill thinks this is her time to shine and jump in. And again, Caitlin Clark fans are not racist. They are not. I know people will say something, they might be or whatever. The point is, they're not racist. None of these fans are racist because nobody likes basketball that much to be racist. Like I'm only going to watch, some of the Caitlin Clark. Like you're still going to see a lot of black people, and so a lot of people have patronized that sport to help try to bring visibility. And you got people like Jamel Hill thinking that, oh yeah, now you guys are mad at her. But at the end of the day, Jamel Hill ends up like being a, she thinks she has room to talk in this conversation, and she really doesn't.
Nah, I'm good on Jamel. She said some things a while back about black men that had me feeling some type of way. I'm good on her, and I was really rocking with her and Michael Smith, tough on the his and her side of the game. But nah, I'm good on her.
Yeah. But yeah, just to close it out though, WNBA or whatever, the ratings you guys and the exposure you had this year, yeah, that's it. It's going downhill from there.
I would like to disagree with you, but I can't. We'll see what happens. Yeah. I'll still watch.
I'll close it with this again. I would rather see the WNBA. I would rather see the sport be as fascinating as was, because I saw a lot of people did enjoy watching it though, but not like this. Not this wokeism. It's got to go.
It won't, especially not with women. But I get it.
Yep. All right. Next topic.